Hey everyone, that's this guy,
This is that guy.
and we are
The This and That Guys. This is Collection Central.
That is Memory Lane,
This is Hero Haven.
and that is the most influential comic book family of all time.
When discussing comic books, there is no avoiding the mention of Marvel, one of the biggest companies to put pen to paper, creating some of the most iconic names in superhero lore.
Originally known as Timely Publications and established in 1939 by Martin and Abraham Goodman in collaboration with Carl Burgos and Bill Everett as artists and editors, the company would bring on Joe Simon and a young Jack Kirby in 1941.
Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, made his appearance as the first patriotic superhero to ever hit comic book panels, becoming a huge hit for the company and selling millions of copies.
That same year, the company was renamed Timely Comics and continued creating new characters until in 1939, a fresh out of high school 16-year-old Stanley Lieber started working at Timely Comics.
Stan started out as an office assistant until 1941 when then editor Joe Simon left the company, opening a spot for Stanley to take as interim editor. Stanley would keep this spot for decades, excluding the 3 years he fought in Pearl Harbor.
In 1951, Goodman would start putting the glow from his other venture, Atlas News Company, and take the name, later on changing the moniker to Atlas Comics. Though still not a thriving company, their luck would change in late 1961 with the introduction of what is considered the most important and influential family and superhero team in comic book history, and the company would be forever after known as Marvel Comics.
Debuting in November 1961, Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Sue Storm, and Johnny Storm were the idea of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, saving Marvel Comics and bringing them to new heights.
When a mission sending the titular Four into space goes horribly awry, the team awakes back on Earth, their lives forever changed. The rest of their careers and personal lives would be spent in and out of the public's eye.
There are a number of things that helped the Four become mainstays in the comic world. As everyday real people with real problems, working normal jobs, we immediately found ourselves able to relate to this practical foursome. But more importantly, they were a strong family unit, and this gave us something inspiring to look up to more than just on a fantastical level.
Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, considerably the greatest mind in the Marvel Universe, is introduced as a struggling scientist who is trying to make ends meet. Leader of the Four, Reed is given the ability to stretch his limbs to incredible lengths and form his body into any shape.
Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. Based off of Jack Kirby himself in several ways, from where he grew up to his personality and how he was raised, Ben grows up in hardship and later joins the Air Force to become a skilled pilot. When going through his transformation, he is the only one who is permanently changed, becoming a giant rock creature with fantastic feats of strength.
Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman. The single member to go through the most changes and be very underutilized, her character would have much deserved development as the years went by. Introduced as a soft and caring character, Sue has incredible abilities. Not only being able to become invisible and project her powers to protect other characters, but also being able to control and manipulate objects by generation of invisible energy.
Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. Johnny is the younger brother of Sue and, as reflected in his newfound powers of fire, is also a hothead, reckless teen who is shown to love tinkering with cars. The youngest of the four, Johnny also has immense powers, from going supernova at times and even destroying planets, to taking on and stunning some of the Four's biggest villains by himself.
It would then be, of course, the first name in the toy industry who would step up to produce the first family of comics in action hero form. These iconic characters were released throughout several toy lines, enabling the avid fan to update, downsize, and re-recruit the lineup as you see fit.
Taking a page from Kenner's Star Wars line when they scaled down G.I. Joe to less than 4 inches tall, Hasbro was now well known for their small-scale figures, making a major impact in the toy world and leaving it no surprise that these superheroes were such a hit. For a history of Hasbro, refer to our G.I. Joe video.
First launched in 2013 as a part of the 3.75-inch Marvel Universe line, The four have seen several iterations hit shelves since. Released in many different outfits and variants, you can decide how you want your team to line up.
As previously stated, the four have had a few suit-up changes through the years, and Hasbro's made sure to touch base on them. Whether it be the 80s look with the white and blue suits, the more modern look with the black and blue, or even the Foundation 4's black and white.
Given to us in beautiful detail and great articulation, each member were released individually. Together in a pack you can find Reed, Sue, Herbie, and the Thing, with Johnny and Human Torch figures packaged separately.
Being such an important family to comic books, Marvel would dedicate entire pages in 1965 and even after to the event of Reed Richards and Sue Storm saying their vows and officially tying the fantastic knot, even having the entirety of the Marvel roster, including Stan Lee himself, in attendance.
Through the years and the comic lines, members have been temporarily replaced due to differing circumstances. For example, She-Hulk from 84 to 86 due to Ben Grimm losing his powers and reverting back to his human form, and Spider-Man joining at a time when Reed reformed the team, changing their name to the Foundation 4 due to Johnny's demise. Spidey would be a prominent and popular character joining the ranks.
Although not everyone who have joined the four has stuck around permanently, there is one whom has since his debut. Herbie. Appearing in the 1978 cartoon due to licensing rights over the Human Torch, Herbie the Little Robot has been the sole character to remain with the family since his introduction.
The four have come up against several iconic villains, some very powerful, even as strong as gods, and some as small as rodents. First appearing in Fantastic Four #1, for example, right along with our heroes, Mole Man still remains one of their most recognizable villains to date.
No enemy, however, has had quite the impact as that of the four's main rival and one of the most powerful villains in comics, Victor Von Doom, aka Dr. Doom. First appearing in 1962, Doom would become the four's main antagonist. Coming from wealth in Latveria and building an empire, Doom becomes jealous of Reed Richards, believing him superior and seeking validation.
Debuting as a generic villain in his first appearance and growing to one of the greatest villains the Marvel Universe has ever seen, Doom has not only been powerful enough to take on cosmic-level threats and even rewrite reality, but his most impressive feat to date is ruling over Battleworld as God Emperor Doom.
Released in the same line as Hasbro's 3.75-inch and in his most recognizable outfit, green cloaked suit fitted with gold chained accents, Doom steps right off the comic pages and into your battle scene. However, Hasbro went the extra mile and also gave us his white outfit, donned as he rules with immense power as Emperor Doom.
Making his gigantic debut in March of 1966 as an unimaginable cosmic-level threat alongside one of his many heralds, Norrin Radd, aka the Silver Surfer, in one of the greatest comic lines to ever exist. Galactus is shown not to only outsize planetary bodies, but literally able to indulge in and devour a planet to keep his life force sustained.
Produced by Hasbro's subsidiary company, HasLab, a crowdfunding company used to raise enough money to create larger items, this figure was well worth the wait. Given so much detail, Galactus is one of the most impressive figures to hit shelves.
Upon looking at this figure, you will see he not only has the perfect comic accurate representation, but also the most articulated figure Hasbro has released. With 20 points in his hands alone, making it easy to hold foes, and made at a staggering 3 feet tall, it's easy to see why this is a must-have figure for any collector of this scale.
With a complete comic book history, Hasbro's amazing action figures, and your own imagination, you can now recreate or create from scratch iconic comic battles of your own, much like we have done with The Arrival of Galactus.